Right, hi guys, welcome back to another lecture. Right, today I thought I would just go through a very basic overview of what O level social studies is about. Right, so social studies is basically there are different kinds of social studies, right? But specifically at the O level, we focus on the Singapore Social Studies curriculum. Okay, so it's basically helping students to understand how Singapore society works and encourage students to inquire more onto certain real world issues through inquiry and also critical thinking, right? So it seeks also to inculcate students in the values that shape up Singapore society and also allows them to understand how to analyze certain scenarios in the society and also encourages them to show concern for their society, right? So three main issues that social studies actually focuses on at the O level, which is exploring citizenship and governance, living in a diverse society, and being part of a globalized world. Okay, so issue one is basically about uh, how government works, about how citizens can participate in their society, what makes up a citizen, what do we call a citizen, and what's the difference between citizenship and residency, for example. And also it reminds students to have a stronger sense of civic consciousness in the society and the fact that everyone has a part to play in the well-being of a certain country or a certain society. Now, diversity focuses on harmony, or rather harmony. Sorry for my pronunciation, but basically, it's about the effects of diversity in a society. Basically, why we need to respect one another, why we need to accept who they are, and what are some problems, what are some tensions that may come about from living in a diverse society. Okay, and last but not least, globalization. Globalization basically is teaching students about how the world is all interconnected and interdependent with one another in today's age. For example, during the pandemic, you see all countries will have to work one another through various foundations like COVAX or something to get the whole world vaccinated so we can move on away from this COVID-19 pandemic, right? So we also ask students to analyze how globalization affects in certain areas, for example, in security, in cultural, in economic, these areas, how does globalization affect all of these things? So by the end of social studies, right, basically it involves students understanding how Singapore is on a global outlook, on a global scale, to understand and appreciate different perspectives that shape up a certain argument, to apply critical thinking, to apply reflective thought in the use of past, future, and present to make decisions, to negotiate in complex situations, right? And then also obviously have a sense of belonging to the community, to the nation, to the world, and to be committed to helping certain issues that we see in our world. So obviously one of the ways we do this is through your standardized assessments, which is basically assessing if candidates can actually demonstrate an understanding of the issues that shape up our society, to interpret certain sources based on purpose, tone, and other things, to draw inferences, to analyze and evaluate if pieces of evidence are accurate, fair, and of course distinguish between fact, opinion, and judgment to detect values and bias, and finally draw conclusions and arguments through the use of these sources. So in O-level assessment, there is a standardized specification, which is that for the first two, objective 1 and objective 2, 35% of the paper is worth for objective 1 and 2, which is your source-based case study. And for objective 3, that will be your structured response. Okay. Why does this say 50%? It's because I'm using the social studies and history syllabus, where paper 1 is social studies in combined humanities. Okay, but it's about the same for pure as well here, right? So of course, in the source-based case study, or in fact the structured response questions, there will be either of the issues, either three, one, two, or three, issue one, two, or three, that will be set for either source-based or structured response. These two will not overlap. Okay, so the paper is worth 50% of the humans grade for combined, and of course 100% for just social studies if you're taking pure humans. So you have about 1 hour and 45 minutes to complete both sections, so your source-based case study and your structured response. Okay, many students say that this 1 hour 45 minutes is not a lot of time, and yes, they are right. It is not a lot of time. So you need to think quickly, you need to analyze your sources quickly, and then to write your arguments in a cohesive and clear manner, but still elaborate when it needs to be elaborated, but reduce where it's needed to be reduced. Okay, so yeah, basically source-based case study will comprise of 5 different parts. All right, first four will be source handling based on specific skills. So stuff like, over here, inference, purpose, message, comparison, reliability, surprise, and utility. All these are based on one particular source. All right, but the final part is that source handling using multiple sources. This is where we are training you to read from and analyze from a broader perspective. So this in fact is a very heavy question. It's worth 10 marks, and this is what we call the assertion question. Usually we give you like a phrase, do you think the government needs to do this, or do this organization, is this organization required to do this? Please use the sources and come up with the answer, something like that. So this one question alone is worth 10 marks. So it's a very heavy question, but I won't get into the details of how to answer it or anything. That will be for a later video. So that's source based, right? Structured response, okay, is basically your essays, right? I think most students will think about it as essays. So in total, there's about 15 marks given to this section. So basically, for part A and part A is just about giving explanations, okay? Considering the issues of context in Singapore, we'll ask you A, to make a recommendation, or B, give a argument, like a suggestion, recommendation, or explain. Yeah, something like that. And then part B is where you need to construct an explanation based on 2 factors and then evaluate those factors using scale impact time. Okay, this is what we mean by the balanced conclusion. This is the one you need to use your extract 2, extract 3. Now, many students think about it as SS is, it's propaganda. If I don't write something that supports the government's view or something, I'm not gonna get it correct. No, okay. As a social studies student, you would know bias is inherent in anything and everything. So to at least give a fair shot to every single student, teachers will mark using the levels of response marking scheme, LOMS, right? So basically different criterias that the candidate should reach in order to get a certain mark. Okay, so please rest assured, this will be implemented in all your exams. Okay, so this is basically all the key understandings and the key outcomes that we need you to know after each chapter. I'm not going to go through much of it right now, but this is basically everything that you need to know. Yep. So we will teach all of this across the 2 years of social studies at the upper sec level before your O levels, right? Okay, so basically that's about it. it's not a very complicated idea here, but as long as you are prepared with the content knowledge, you're prepared with the sources and the skills needed, you will probably do quite well. As I always mention, we judge social studies as a subject with 25%. 25% social theory, 25% link, 25% skill, and 25% real world context. Okay, so social theory is everything we teach you in class, all your different ideas about what is diversity, what is citizenship, how does this affect that, whatever. Okay, so this is the part we teach in class. 25% linking. Linking between different issues, linking between a specific content within a particular issue is very important to your understanding of social theory. If you don't link it properly, you don't see the link, there is no way you can answer a question that well. 25% is the skill, your formatting and all that kind of stuff. That is where skill comes in. All right, this is more specifically for the exam. And then 25% real world context. You need to be well read on different issues that are occurring in the world. Anything from historical issues to present issues and anything about the future plans, master plans, stuff like that you need to be familiar with, because we can come up with anything. And of course, O level papers are set a year before the exam actually occurs. So think about it. You need to start reading about it now. You need to start reading widely now. Okay. So yeah. As for your exams in schools, then it can be anything. Can be something that's quite new even. So yeah, just be prepared, read widely, and be curious. That is how you can score for your social studies, right? So yeah, that's about it for today's lesson, right? It's a pretty short lesson. I'm just going through the basics, all right? So yeah, yeah. So I don't have anything else to say. So just do your best, alright? Do your level best. Try as much as you can. If you have any questions or anything, you can leave it in the comments below, or you can always ask your teachers, right? Remember to ask your teachers. Okay, so this is the end for this video, right? Thank you so much for coming on today, and I wish you all the best for your examinations. Please stay safe and stay healthy and happy. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.